They said I wasn't leadership material. They smiled when they passed me over. They picked someone louder, flashier. They rewrote my ending before my story even reached the middle. But they didn't reject me. They redirected me. And I remember the moment. The exact moment. The one where I realized they didn't break me. They built me. He stood across the table from me, tied too tight, voice shaking slightly, asking for an opportunity. The same man who once shook my hand right after taking what should have been mine. And now, he was asking me for a job. Funny how the story flips when you stop asking for chapters and start writing books. My name is Rachel Morgan. I'm 33 years old, and I live in Portland, Oregon. And this is how I became someone they couldn't ignore. I used to believe in straight lines. You work hard, stay loyal, hit your numbers, and you rise. That's how it worked in theory. That's what my parents taught me. That's what school drilled into me. Ever since college, I was on that path, business honors graduate, in turn turned full-time, quickly promoted, leading regional campaigns by 28. Everyone said, Rachel's the one to watch. I was supposed to be the next marketing director. Everyone knew it. Even my manager hinted at it during our one-on-one. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're next, Rachel.
So I did.
I worked nights, ran extra analytics, led a team through a product crisis with barely any sleep. And then the announcement came. Not my name. Josh Dalton. The guy who once asked me to double-check his presentations. The one I coached through his first pitch. It didn't make sense. Not on paper. Not in performance. But it was final. I remember the office, buzz fading into a low murmur. People avoiding eye contact. HR's forced smile. My manager's excuse. It's about optics, Rachel. Diversity of thought. Josh brings a fresh energy.
Right.
And suddenly, I wasn't next. I was just still here. My parents didn't get it. You're still employed. Be grateful. Maybe they saw something in him you didn't. And friends? That's just corporate life. Move on. I stopped explaining. I just nodded. And then I quietly opened my own laptop. But it wasn't to revise a resume. It was to start again. Not from the bottom, but from truth. But proof. Proof that I could build something that helped people. And one day, someone would see it. Someone had to. It was a Thursday, early spring. I was invited to speak at a small leadership panel hosted by a local startup incubator. Nothing fancy, just a few founders, some curious college grads, a half-empty room with complimentary coffee, and too many folding chairs. I went because I believed in showing up, even when it wasn't glamorous. After the panel, I stayed behind, chatting with some attendees. That's when a guy walked in late, dressed in a navy suit, hair neatly parted, holding a business card like it was a shield. He waited until the crowd thinned, then approached me. Hey, he said, uncertain. Rachel Morgan, right? I nodded. He squinted, searching my face. I think we used to work together. At Benton and Rise. I was in corporate communications. That name struck like thunder. Josh Dalton. Older now, but unmistakable. The same man who got my promotion. The one they chose instead of me. His name echoed in every meeting I had walked into after that decision. He became a face of their future. I became a fading memory of their past.
But now?
He stood in front of me, his energy different. Smaller. Paler. I've been following what you're doing with Skillcraft, right? He said, trying to sound casual. I smiled politely, professional.
Yes.
That's mine. He hesitated, then said something I didn't expect. My niece, she struggled after college. Social anxiety, couldn't get through interviews. Someone recommended your platform. Your elevator pitch module? She memorized it.
Got the job.
She's doing amazing now. He looked down, fumbled with his watch. I didn't know it was you until she showed me the site a few days ago. There was silence.
Heavy.
Real. I waited. Let it breathe. He continued. I'm actually in a bit of a shift myself. Left Benton a few months ago. I'm exploring options. He looked up again, voice softer. Do you have any openings? Contract work, maybe? I studied his face. I saw the man who once took what I thought was mine. But I also saw someone who didn't gloat, didn't pretend, didn't know he'd be standing in front of me one day needing what I built. I nodded slowly. We're expanding our B2B division, looking for someone who understands internal communication pipelines. His eyes lit up. That's literally what I do. I smiled. Not wide, not bitter, just complete. Well, I said, extending my hand. Send me your resume. He took it, shook it, like he meant it. That night, driving home, the streetlights blurred through my windshield. My heart was calm, not proud, not spiteful, just calm, because life had come full circle, and I hadn't forced it. I hadn't posted about it. I hadn't shouted from rooftops. But the truth walked in by itself and refused to stay quiet. A week later, I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, slanted cursive. It was from my mother. I told your aunt about your program. She said her neighbor's son used it and found work after months of rejection. I just wanted you to know, I'm proud of you.
Just that.
No long explanations. No apologies. But it meant more than anything she'd said in the past 5 years. Then came a text from my brother. So, you're basically running an education company now? That's legit. I might need advice for my daughter. Little things, like my dad forwarding me an article about women-led startups. Or my cousin at a family dinner suddenly turning to me and saying, "Wait, is that your platform the job coach was talking about?" I didn't brag. I didn't correct them when they'd misjudged me, because I didn't need to anymore. I had already been validated, not by applause or LinkedIn likes, but by the lives I touched in the quiet. The woman who emailed her son, the graduate who negotiated her worth, even the man who once took what I earned, now asking to join what I built. I looked at my old resume the other day, felt nothing. I hadn't updated it in years, and I didn't need to, because I wasn't waiting to be chosen anymore. I was choosing myself, and maybe that's the lesson. It wasn't pride. It was peace. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep going quietly until they have no choice but to hear the echo of what you've done. If you've ever felt unseen, this story was for you. If you've ever watched someone else get the seat you worked for, or had your voice ignored in rooms you helped build, just know you're not alone. Your path may not follow straight lines. It may bend, disappear, break, but that doesn't mean it ends. Sometimes, the detour is the beginning of something only you can create. And if no one claps when you win quietly, clap for yourself. I don't know where you're watching this from, but I want to hear your story. What have you overcome that no one knows about? Drop it in the comments, not for validation, but because someone out there needs your voice right now. This channel is for the builders, the dreamers, the ones who rise quietly but stand tall when the time comes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to mine. And if no one's told you today, I see you. And I'm rooting for you. More real stories are coming soon. Until then, keep going. Even if it's quiet. Especially if it's quiet.